So, Big Hero 6 is going to become an animated series, huh? Interesting. Very interesting. Alright, let's talk about this like adults. It's not being talked about much yet, but 2014 was a great year for movies, both live action and animated. Which is a pretty strange thing to admit when you consider the fact that Pixar took that year off to fix The Good Dinosaur. The fall and winter season in particular was incredibly strong, kicked off by great summer releases like How to Train Your Dragon 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy, leading into strong favorites like Whiplash, Boyhood, Gone Girl, and even movies I didn't particularly care for, but were still objectively solid, like Birdman or The Unexpected, yeah, you get it. One animated movie from Disney surprised even more people, especially me. Big Hero 6. This was the first Marvel comic Disney ever turned into an animated movie. Sure, it was an obscure Marvel comic, but still, it wasn't a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, which was kind of different and strange, but it ended up being pretty great. And going into this one, I was pretty skeptical and unsure if it would be a success. I was wrong to be worried, thankfully, to the point where Big Hero 6 managed to eke out an Academy Award in favor of the How to Train Your Dragon sequel I already mentioned. And hey, stop complaining about this, okay? The Academy has a thing against sequels. I don't understand why people expected How to Train Your Dragon 2 was gonna win. Anyway, thanks in most part to the movie's stunning animation via the Hyperion engine, a beautifully realized mashup environment of San Francisco and Tokyo, interesting side characters, a heartwarming story, and the two characters at the center of it all, Hero and Baymax. If you haven't seen this movie yet and want to check it out unspoiled, this is your one warning, because I'm about to get into some significant plot details that will spoil the entire movie. Go check it out. You have plenty of time. Go for it. Ready? All right. When I first watched Big Hero 6, I was admittedly a bit disappointed to see so much emphasis taken off the titular superhero team. They don't really come together until late in the movie, so a lot of their development is a bit rushed so we can spend more time with Hero and Baymax. Maybe this was a smart idea, because the movie worked after all, and I was somewhat satisfied by how the movie left off on a big sequel note, with all the team members being shown to have fully embraced their new roles as science-friendly supersuit wearers who fight unspecified crime threats. This left some ground open for what I would call Big Hero 7, a fully formed sequel movie that could spend more time fleshing out the supporting characters and the B-plot, while Hero and Baymax deal with the main plot as you'd expect. And almost since the movie came out, I've advocated for this sequel to have a big twist in the form of, well, Tadashi coming back. See, in Big Hero 6, Tadashi is presumably killed off screen by an explosion after he rushes inside to save someone. Theory time, I've speculated in the past that Disney intentionally decided to use fire as the mechanism for his demise, because it's a suitable way to bring him back as a new character. Sunfire. That character happens to be associated with the late 90s incarnation of the Big Hero 6, with Sunfire being an original member of the team and even a former member of the X-Men and Uncanny Avengers. In the comics, he goes by Shiro, but since Disney is mostly forbidden from digging into the X-Men lore, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if he was appropriated to fit with Tadashi. Anyway, I go into more detail in the original blog post about this, like with how I think the fire and nuclear energy of that science fair that he blows up in basically is a clue for how Disney set this up without fully committing to it, so you can read further on that if you like. My main point for this video, though, is there's a good reason to be excited about Big Hero 6 getting adapted into a TV series instead of a full-form sequel. For one thing, that gives Disney more wiggle room to include mutants, or at least their version of them, since this won't be on the big screen after all. Tadashi could be Sunfire without any worry of violating their agreement with Fox, who currently owns the rights to these characters, and Marvel doesn't have to give him a different name, like Sunspot or Sunflower or whatever nonsense. And hey, that's just fine with me. Big Hero 6 was never adapted into the Marvel Cinematic Universe anyway, and now they don't have to rely on weird naming conventions for sequels, because Big Hero 6 2 wouldn't make any sense. On top of that, most of the original voice cast is returning, notably Ryan Potter and Scott Adsit as Hero and Baymax, respectively. Half of the rest of the team is returning too, which includes Jamie Chung and Genesis Rodriguez as Go-Go and Honeylemon, although TJ Miller and David Waynes Jr. are being replaced with that Whelan guy who got fired from SNL and Carrie Payton, who is, and I'm not joking, King Ezekiel from The Walking Dead, though you'll actually recognize his voice a lot better from DC animated shows like Teen Titans and Young Justice. As for the story, all we know at the moment is that the series will pick up right after the events of the movie, and the Big Hero 6 team will face off against scientifically enhanced villains, likely originating from the San Francisco Institute of Technology, which happens to be where the team hangs out. And yes, this is a big reason why I think it's more likely than ever that Sunfire can make a vengeance, but we'll see if that really happens. Another interesting thing is that this whole idea of metahumans sort of congregating from one big event that causes them to, spur about, it's a little bit too Static Shock and The Flash for my liking, so I hope they don't go into that, as much as it seems like they're going to. Honestly, my only concern about this new series is that Disney has a not so great track record with animated series based off of hit animated movies. The animated spin-offs for Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Hercules, and Legend of Tarzan, for example, were all enjoyable enough for their time, but they didn't come close to being as good as the movies. I'd say the best of them was probably Lilo and Stitch, even though, again, the show never really felt like a step up from the original movie. At least not in the same way a sequel can actually make a movie better. We never really get that from these TV series, and yeah, there's really no clear precedent for Big Hero 6, the animated series, or whatever they end up calling it, being all that great or special. And you have to rely on the fact that the showrunners of Kim Possible are behind the wheel on this one, and that means that it's going to be as good as that show. One other animated series is coming to Disney XD in 2017, and that's Tangled, which looks solid so far based on the one trailer that's already come out. And even if the show is great, I don't think that will affect Big Hero 6 in a significant way, except to send the message to Disney that their resurgence movies are goldmines for television, or the other way around, depending on how this all shakes out over the next 2 years. My hope is that Tangled and Big Hero 6 will represent a bold, new step for Disney that allows their hit movies that don't warrant a sequel to get better treatment on Disney XD, or something similar. Maybe. Are you excited about a Big Hero 6 series? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for tuning into my new channel, John in Theory. New videos come at least once a week, and I'm open to any and all suggestions about the format of this channel as I continue to experiment and figure out what works for these videos. Don't forget to subscribe, obviously, or follow the links below to find me elsewhere in the internet, California. Thanks for watching.